Hello, welcome to Pinder Kinder. I am Heidi Pinder, and today I would like to talk to all the teachers out there. Maybe you are thinking about teaching remotely this year. You might be teaching remotely from your school buildings, or maybe you'll be teaching remotely from your homes. I am at my home right now. This is my home. I have created a classroom. I normally teach kindergarten from my school building, but circumstances have called for me to teach more at home. I have also started teaching students remotely who live in China. I teach them ESL classes, and this summer I have been teaching remotely summer school students that are first graders, almost second graders. All that experience has taught me a few things about getting ultimate engagement from my students who are not in the same room with me. Today, I would like to share with you about how to set up and organize your virtual classroom for ultimate engagement. I'm not talking about your Bitmoji classroom. Those are fun. I am talking about the place where you will sit while you teach on your computer. So the first thing you have to think about is, where will you be? You don't need a lot of space. My house is not big, and I share it with a dog and 5 other humans. So I have about a 4 by 8 space in the back of our shared home office. I'd like to show it to you. I can't get up, so I took a picture. My son actually took a picture of me. This is my home office. I have a lot of things here. My husband built me a desk, and I have shelves, I have pockets, I have all kinds of things that I'll tell you about in just a minute. So first you want to choose a spot, and you want to think, do I really want my students to see my refrigerator or my bed? Do I want to do those things? Now, I know some of us have done that because we didn't know what to do. None of us have done this before. But after you have figured out where you're going to put your classroom, you will then think about creating a background. So I would encourage you to move your desk out from a wall and use the wall as your background. And then the first thing you can do is add a banner or maybe a border at the top of your virtual classroom space. This adds some visual appeal, and also it helps you to calibrate your screen. So sometimes I take my laptop and I move it to other parts of the house, or maybe I will take it to my school building and I'll bring it home. And when I open my screen, then I know this is the top. This is the place where I want my camera to hit. Also, while I'm teaching summer school, sometimes we stand up and we do brain breaks or we do activities. And then when I sit down, I can easily move my screen to place the top of my classroom. And I know that's the optimum place for my screen to be. It also adds visual appeal. I change mine out seasonally. You can put pumpkins and apples, leaves, snowflakes. You can make it as simple or as complex as you would like. And you can, of course, make it so that you like it and your students like it. I would also encourage you to get something that's magnetic. My students and I were doing sight word tic-tac-toe, so I have this here. You can put your students' names, you can have sight words. This is from Target Dollar Spot in the back to college time last year. This is from Amazon. It has little clips where photos could hang. I also changed that out and hang things seasonally. So when you're creating your virtual background, you can think of the wall behind you. I also have an old nightstand right here next to me. I kind of use it as a shelf because you can bring props into your classroom. We were learning about plants in my first grade summer school, so I brought a plant that I'd grown. We planted seeds. It's really grown. They're super excited. So I have this in my classroom. You can, when we were studying about different countries, I brought a globe. You could sit a globe. You could just have it sitting behind you for visual appeal as a prop. I also love books. So I have a book stand. Some of you might have put photos in it. So books that I'm reading in class, I will sit behind me. So choose a spot for your virtual classroom. Create a background. It can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be for your visual classroom. And then think, how do you want to organize your materials? This is more important than ever because if you get up, you are going to lose your students. We want them to stay engaged, so we want to keep the lessons moving. Now, I have times with my summer school students where we stand up and move around. They might go get water or might go get a snack, but I want that to be when I tell them not to, not just for them wandering up around. So I have a little bin next to my chair that I can reach, and I have bags for each component of my summer school day. So I can reach down. I set these up prior to Monday, sometimes on the weekend, and then I fill the bag. So for my word work, they were reading the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and they were finding sight words. So I have a spider puppet. I have a spider ring that I was using as a pointer under my document camera to find the sight words. I put all these things in at the end of a lesson, so that today, the end of Monday, I reset the bag for Tuesday. Tuesday, I reset it for Wednesday. At the end of the week, I reset the bags for the next week. At the end of the day, I encourage my students to also clean up their workspaces. They have little string backpacks, so I say, put your things back in your backpack. If I have an organized classroom, they have an organized classroom. Another reason that we want to create a virtual background is it's more professional. When I step into this classroom, I am Mrs. Pinder. I know I am a teacher, even though I'm in my home, and my students know they are at school. At the beginning of summer school, some of my students were on couches and chairs, kind of lounging around with blankets. Now they are all up. Some are at kitchen tables, some are at little tables, some have office chairs and desks, but they are more likely to learn and stay engaged if they have a classroom and if their teacher is sitting in a virtual classroom. So you find a spot, you create a background, you get organized, and you also have materials that are within arm's reach that you might need for other lessons. So I have worked hard to organize my materials. I have a lab coat. So this summer during science time, I put my lab coat on and the students know, oh, it's science. That's their favorite part of the day. I have my, within arm's reach, but outside of camera range, I have my markers and crayons, my scissors. I'm sure at school, all of you have bins and drawers. So I have those types of things to keep props and materials that I don't need every day. I have my magnetic alphabet letters organized. So just think, how can you organize things that you might need? Not some things on a daily basis, some things on a weekly or a monthly basis. So you're thinking about where you can put a virtual classroom, you're creating a background, you're organizing your materials, and then you're thinking about your actual computer. What are you going to use? If at all possible, it is very good to have 2 monitors. So when we started Safer at Home back in the spring, my husband was working from home, I was at home as a teacher, we had 2 high schoolers and a college student, and we were all trying to be on our computers. So my husband actually used some small screen TVs. He hooked them with a HDMI cord, and they used those for a while. That can be hard on your eyes, but if you can have a dual screen, when I teach my students remotely, I can see my content and I can see my students' faces, and I think that's very important. Another thing that is very important is the lighting. It is some of our computers darken us down and it makes us look like we are in a dark space even when we're not. So it is good to think about how you are appearing on screen with your lighting. If you are teaching on a cloudy day Or if it is morning and the sun's not up yet, you might consider getting a selfie light. These can hook right on the edge of your laptop or on your edge of your monitor and can brighten you. Also, you might bring some lamps. There's lots of YouTube videos about how to make your space brighter, but you want to have a bright classroom that projects to your students that you're happy to be there, and the lighting can make a big impact. So when you are considering your virtual classroom, you can think of things that make you more comfortable, that make your students feel welcome, and help them to know that they are at school. Jen Jones from Hello Literacy says, everything new is hard at first. I know that. I'm sure you know that. We have lots of unknowns as we go into this school year. But if we stick together and we love our students like we always do, and we keep positive attitudes, we will have a great school year. Happy teaching, everyone.